Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rayge, and we are back today to take a look at the upcoming raid teams in addition to ones that you should or shouldn't build based on the current meta that we understand right now, and as well as in light of new information that's been circulated. So obviously, as you guys can see on screen here, the Hellfire Club is the most recent and newly announced team here, respectively, for the mutant section of raids. But we know that new raids are around the corner, guys, and I'm here to help you out in terms of just gaining that insight of what's been around, which teams have been, obviously invested in past years, and obviously how to best prepare, knowing what we have now, and as well of the information that we have. So if you guys recall, we saw this in the data mines, but this is now officially live in game as the start of chapter 2 initiated. And you can see here, they already kind of start talking about this annihilation raid that's coming around the corner quite soon. And in the verbiage here, it does state that we have to build your raid teams, including Hellfire, to progress through this new raid. Recommended teams: Hellfire Club, Thunderbolts, Vigilantes, Night Stalkers, Uncanny Avengers, and upcoming team. And that upcoming team, guys, is kind of what piqued my interest, and obviously this video, because in the past video we made on this, as well as taking a look at the data mines, it's very plausible and it's very likely a new tech team is around the corner. As you can see clearly from this verbiage, the Orcus team has been excluded. But I also wanted to deep dive that even further. I wanted to take a look at what other teams should we be aware of, especially if you're newer to the game, perhaps mid-game transitioning to end-game. I want to help you guys prepare, because obviously these raid teams are always coming in and out every single year. But the good news is that with raid teams, there is usually a shelf life. And that's what I want to talk about, as well as which teams are on the way out, knowing what we know in terms of how long they've been in the game. So again, us endgame players already have a good insight, and we already know what's been used now. But hopefully this is able to at least help you guys kind of see that and gain that visibility, as well as obviously preparing in the future here of which teams to invest in, which one to be cautious on, and which ones to watch out for. So I've populated all the recent raid teams, guys. As you can see here, this would be the last, I guess it looks like 9 raid teams for the last couple years here, right? And you can see we're going to start things off with two teams that have already been situated out, but I like to use them as kind of a gauge, so that way we can get really understand how long these raid teams are lasting in the game, and as well as when they're expected to be out. So you can see here, guys, more specifically, the 2 that I want to focus in on are the Extreme X-Men team for mutants, in addition to Spire Society for the skill section. Now, these were used in the start of the Orcus raids, and there's been a couple of changes since then. But the fact is that you can see here, Extreme X-Men, the mutant team has been actually in the game for quite some time. In December 2023, that's when the release of Nightcrawler came, and surprisingly enough, they've actually withstood the stand of time. It's been over a year and a half, and they're finally situated out because in August 2025, the Hellfire Club got announced. So that's good. But you can see, impressively enough, over a year and a half of value that we were able to take advantage of. Now, I do want to caveat by saying that they only lasted as long as they did because there was a lot of different moving variables that you can, obviously theorycraft and add in different characters. Like the addition of Apocalypse, Old Man Logan. Now we have Xavier. So there's been a lot of strong mutants that you can actually switch in, switch out, Uncanny Avengers. So that's why Extreme X-Men is kind of with an asterisk that they've lasted as long as they did, because of these theory crafting teams that were able to help supplement what was needed. Spire Society, I mean, there wasn't really much you could do there. They were just a standalone team, and you couldn't really slot in other characters. They worked really well with each other. But you can see they kind of were the normal timeline. They came in April 2024. And then finally, April 2025, that's when the Vigilantes team was announced and obviously released. So almost an exact time frame here of 1 year. And to be honest, guys, 11 months to a year, that's typically what I would expect to be the average raid team shelf life. So now that we got that context, guys, let's take a look now at the current teams that we have, okay? Let's take a look. So current teams we have right now in the current raids that we got going on with Chaotic Storm, Orcus, Night Stalkers, Vigilantes, Thunderbolts, as well as the newly announced Hellfire Club. Now, you can see here with Orcus, them being a tech section, I have them in red because they are very, very likely to be the next team. For a couple reasons. First and foremost, from this list, they are the earliest team. They got released September 2024. I have it in red because I do strongly believe they're going to be the next likely team to be replaced. As well, they're getting very, very close to that 1 year mark. So it could be in August, it could be in September, but either way, guys, they're still a really good team. You can use them in Dark Dimension, you can use them in Age of X. The question is, do you want to use them for those settings if you know that there's going to be another upcoming tech team coming. Now, having said that, I still think they're going to have a good foundation for global villain characters, right? So, you may not want to pause investing in them if you need some strong global villains for certain sections of the game, but that's just my 2 cents, guys. Obviously, we know if there's going to be a new tech team, usually everyone has to invest in them for the new raid. So that's the only thing I would caveat, right? Just watch out for that. And then surprisingly enough, we actually have Night Stalkers on the way out as well. They're the Mystic Raid team, introduced in October 2024. And I have them in yellow because I do believe they're not going to be the next raid team out, but they'll likely follow tech, right? And that's going to probably be in the next couple of months. If they have new raids coming into the game, I actually expect then that based on what I'm seeing right now, I would suspect that Tech and Mystic will probably be the harder sections of these released raids, kind of similar to what Orcus did last year, right? But it'll be interesting. This is my guess anyways, right? But again, they're the ones to pay attention to. Now, the good news is that Vigilantes, Thunderbolts, Hellfire Club, all being released in 2025. Guys, build these teams. You can see how fresh they are. You can see how recent they are. We don't have to worry about these settings, hopefully, until 2026, especially given that these teams lasting at least 11 months to a year easily. We have at least until the second quarter of 2026. So lots of time, lots of opportunity here to build them up and take advantage of the value. So that is a safe investment. Last but not least, guys, the last 2 raid teams I have here is actually relating to Spotlight raids. And you can see very, very similar to the X-Men for Extreme in the Mutant section. Alpha Flight has definitely overstayed their welcome. They're also in red because they're very likely to be replaced or no longer existing in the current requirements. So you can see introduced June 2024, and again, it's been a year and a year and a few months now. So I do expect them to be on the way out very soon. Uncanny Avengers, they just came out at the start of the year, so I think we're still safe for another year. Maybe they change that up, but I don't think so. That in a nutshell is kind of what's happening right now with the current setting, guys. Now, so let me just pivot over quickly to my summary here. Remember, like I said earlier, raid teams usually have that average of 1 year, so we got to be watching out for them. Like I said, I think Tech's on the way out, Mystic is next, in addition to Alpha Flight. They've definitely been overstayed now. So that's why we have the summary here. But guys, remember, every single month there is a new team announcement, and obviously in a few weeks here, August, they're going to make that. So I suspect that's probably going to be the time where they're going to say, hey, this is the new Tech team, or maybe it's going to be September. Either way, we know what's coming around the corner, guys. So hope this helps you out. Hope this at least gives you now some confidence of which teams to build, which raid teams to watch out for, because we know what's on the way out, and we know which ones we can actually safely invest in the meantime in 2026. So, until 2026. So hope this helps you guys out. Let me know what you think, comments below. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.